To some, South Boston was just another neighborhood. To others, it's a symbol of their pride and fight for survival. For generations, this corner of the city was home to working-class Irish. After the Great Famine, millions of Irish fled to the U.S., arriving poor and desperate. Many settled in crowded urban slums like South Boston with few resources or jobs. In these tough conditions, crime became one of the few ways to earn money or gain status. Irish immigrants face intense anti-Irish and anti-Catholic prejudice, which locked them out of mainstream jobs. Some turned to tight-knit gangs for protection and their overall survival. They also got heavy profit from this crime. As Prohibition hit, Irish gangs got involved in bootlegging, gambling, racketeering, and later drugs and armed trafficking.
In the heart of South Boston, the Irish mob scene was anything but unified. Rival factions like the Mullen Gang and Killeen Gang struggled for control of the streets, sparking violent turf wars that turned neighborhoods into battlegrounds. The Mullen Gang, known for their unity and street muscle, clashed repeatedly with the Killeen Gang, whose leader, Donald Killeen, had long controlled Southeast bookmaking and loan sharking operations. Shootings, stabbings, and car bombings escalated as both sides refused to back down. To really understand the mindset of the Irish mob and what it was like on the inside, you have to hear it from somebody who sat across from them and asked the hard questions and wrote it all down.
Phyllis Karras is a journalist and the co-author of Brutal, the untold story of my life inside Whitney Bulger's Irish mob, which she co-wrote with Kevin Weeks. She spent years speaking with Weeks, digging into the truth behind the myths, and we spoke with her to get her perspective on what really drove these men and what it cost them.
Let me just make it very clear from the beginning that Kevin did not want to write this book. He worked for Whitey Bulger for 25 years under the guise of darkness. All their crimes and everything they did was not out in the public, and the last thing he wanted to do was write a book that was going to tell about this life.
James Bulger, commonly known as Whitey Bulger, was a member of the Killeen faction. When Donald Killeen was murdered in 1972, a power vacuum threatened to collapse the Irish underworld entirely. So rather than risk mutual destruction, the two gangs did something rare in organized crime. They merged. Whitey Bulger quickly rose to power and continued the business of racketeering, drug trafficking, and extortion across Boston. Standing beside him was his apprentice, Kevin Weeks.
They're very persuasive and very bright. Kevin Weeks' IQ, as was Whitey Bulger's, is off the wall. So these are not stupid men, and they're Irishmen, the Irish mob.
Weeks ruthlessly helped Bulger enforce discipline, and together they turned the Winter Hill Gang into one of the most feared criminal enterprises in New England, operating with near freedom, thanks to Bulger's secret alliance with the FBI. For over a decade, he gave up rival criminals to the Bureau in exchange for protection. The very agency meant to bring him down became his shield, letting his empire expand unchecked.
But they made a deal with him that if he gave some state's evidence and told them various things enough to put Whitey Bulger, his former boss, on the FBI most wanted list, and told them where some of the bodies were buried and where some of the ammunition was being stored, then he would be able to get out of prison. And this was something he very much wanted to do.
But by the time indictments came out, Bulger was gone. He vanished in 1994. He was tipped off by a corrupt agent. Kevin Weeks was then captured and flipped, revealing the brutal truth about the gang's operations, the murders, the deals, the federal betrayal. He did things to lesser a sentence, like help write this book. In the end, it wasn't just a gang that corrupted Boston. It was a criminal network so deep that even the law bent to its power.
He told the details of them and how they lured the men down. They were criminals that had done something that angered Whitey Bulger, and they were brought down there, and I think they all knew they were going to die. And Kevin never shot them or did that, but he was with them when they died. He always felt he did not do it against innocent people. They were people who were, quote, involved in the business. And telling the story of his life at age 18, becoming so involved with Whitey Bulger and the South Boston Irish mob, and he gave all that up.
Today, the streets have changed. Gentrification has swept through all the old mob territories. But for many longtime residents, the trauma still echoes with broken families, businesses ruined, and lives lost. Though the neighborhoods are changing, the old hangouts are coffee shops now, and most of the old crew members are either dead, in prison, or in hiding. But the memory of what happened here, it still shapes how the people view the city. The gangsters are gone, but the impact, that's something Boston will never forget.
And right now he's leading a very clean life in South Boston, married to a school teacher, has 3 young children, and really has not committed a crime since he got out of jail more than 20 years ago.
The story of Boston's Irish gangs isn't just about crime, but it's also about what happens when loyalty is twisted into something dangerous. Therefore, in retrospect, the choices of a few can shape the future of an entire city.